Today I want to talk about planning for a website. The biggest mistake that people make in developing any kind of creative activity, whether it's a business letter, an email, a book, a poster, or a website, is that they fail to take into account the recipient's needs. If you're writing a business letter or an email, almost certainly you're thinking primarily about the information that you wish to impart onto your recipient. That's the wrong thing to do. So when building a website, people tend to think about their organization's needs, not the needs of their visitor. They think about increasing their profits, their clients, their market share, and the traffic on their website. This is the wrong way of designing, and it's the number one biggest mistake people tend to make in building websites. What you really want to do is examine what it is that your recipient needs and wants, not what you are interested in providing. Focus on your recipient. Who are they? What backgrounds do they have? An artist's showcase website will probably look different than an accountant's portfolio website. How old are they? A website designed for little kids should look different than one designed for older adults, and a site designed for teenagers and young college students might look different than one designed for retirees. What technologies do they use? A site designed for populations with slower internet access should look and work differently than one designed for places that have more modern technologies. And what's their educational background? Once you know who your audience is and what your audience needs, then you can start to think about the information that you're going to provide. How will using your product or website or expertise improve their lives? How will your website address their needs and desires? Remember, you should think of this website as a tool to help your visitors achieve their goals, not the other way around. So once you know who your audience is and what your audience needs, then you can start to think about the information that you're going to provide. So it turns out that people tend to go to websites for one of four main reasons. They like to go to websites for news and other information. They like to go to websites to purchase and donate stuff. They like to go to websites to be entertained. And they like to make like they're feeling like they're part of a community. Always make sure that your website meets at least one of these on every page. So the plan for creating a web content is, first, figure out who your audience is. Who is going to be visiting your website? Next, figure out the goals. What does your audience need? Why did they come? How will your website meet those needs? Then you want to create what I like to call a flowchart. Map out on paper or a whiteboard or a napkin what your website will look like from your audience perspective. And try to show it to a handful of people that are similar to your likely visitors and get their feedback. You don't need to have a large focus group to get a good results. Getting information from 5 to 7 people who are similar to your expected audience will result in useful information. Finally, create what I like to call the site organization chart. This is the mapping of the files, pages, and other technologies that you'll need to construct your website. If the flowchart is the website from your visitor's point of view, then the site organization chart is the website from the developer's point of view. Here's the website I'm going to create in this class. I like to cook, and I want to share some of my recipes with people who might want to try them out. So my audience is friends and family who might want to try out my recipes. Their goals would be to figure out how I like to cook, and my goal is to make it easy for them to try out my recipes, and maybe to write comments. Here's my planned flowchart. It'll have a homepage where I'll talk about my cooking philosophy and the types of foods that I want to share. It'll have a page for steak recipes where I'll share my favorite steak recipes, a page for desserts where I'll share my favorite dessert recipes, and a page for veggie where I'll share my favorite vegetarian recipes. I've also decided that I want people to be able to access all of the web pages from everywhere within the website. And finally, here's my site organization chart. The pages will be home, steak recipes, dessert recipes, and vegetarian recipes. And each post will be an individual recipe with categories of steak and dessert and vegetarian. Now, in order to make my website work, I'm going to need to install at least 2 plugins. Disable comments to make it easy to eliminate comments on everything except for individual recipes, and display post shortcode to display the New York steak recipe on the steak recipes page, for example. So that's the stuff that you want to think about when planning a website.